Welcome back to the stage of history.
How's it going? My name is Tim Fantasy. I'm also known as Bibulus, and I play fighting games. I'm from Vegas now, but I've lived all over the country. Started in New Jersey, New York area, lived all up and down the East Coast, and now Vegas. I play Soulcalibur. I mean, at first, it was just a cool new 3D fighting game. And I like Tekken, and Namco made it, and at that stage of when I was a child, I was just in this mindset that 3D things are better than 2D things, and Soulcalibur just seemed like the next best thing. And then as I got older, well, Soul Edge, that was the Soul Edge, Soul Blade version. I keep getting them mixed up. One of those was arcade, one of them was console. Then Soulcalibur happened, the first one, and it's when I was like a young teenager in arcades. And Tekken had kind of like frustrated me because I got tired of losing to people who knew how to do combos I couldn't do because I didn't have a place to practice besides the arcade. And then when you go to the arcade, you have this dude who works at the arcade and just sits there, and the second you start playing Tekken, he's going to show up, he's going to play with one hand, and he's going to do like 10 hits on you, he's going to knock you up and do dash jab, dash jab, dash jab for like a week. And it was like frustrating for me, and I was like, man, I'm only losing to this guy because he knows how to do combos. Like, I can hit him more than he hits me, but then it doesn't matter. But then Soulcalibur came along, and it had this air control thing, where if you try and do dash jab, I just go the other way. And to me, that was the coolest thing ever in fighting games, because in my brain, it felt like that made the game more about knowing how to hit somebody than how to do a combo, or how to do some kind of crazy set play, or like tag in Cable, the Hyper Viper of the world. Like, I had to know how to hit you. I had to know how to like play neutral. And while now I can look back and say all of these other games have these aspects, they're wrapped up in combo tools, but you have to do all the same things. But to me as a child, Soulcalibur is where I realized all of that. And that's why I play Soulcalibur. Oh man. I pick a top tier. I'm not even gonna lie. I have a new main in every single game. Pretty much, I kind of secondary Greeks all the time. Like in Soulcalibur 2, I had a Sophie that I used for counter picks. In Soulcalibur 3, Sophie was my main, and then in 4 I used her for counter picks, and in 5 I used Pyrrha for counter picks. So it's like she kind of sticks around, but typically the game Soulcalibur changes so much from one version to the next that I have trouble playing the same character from one version to the next because my brain just wants to do what worked in the last game. And in the new game, that ain't a good idea no more. So, since I have so much trouble adapting the same character to do different things, I just change characters altogether. And it also keeps the experience more fun for me. I have to relearn the game, and it makes the new game easier to learn as a new game, as opposed to me just trying to do the same things from the old game in a new version. So, and in this game, man, I play a bunch of characters. I'm still kind of undecided. I really like the DLCs. I definitely play Aswell, but he's kind of become a permanent secondary, and right now I've been messing with the last 3 DLC, or no, not the last 3 DLC characters. It's been Amy, Cassandra, and Setsuka, besides Aswell. I haven't messed with Hildy, but I really like the DLC characters, and yeah, that's what I've been having fun with this game. Who do I see coming in the next DLC? It looks like Algol. They just released a screenshot this morning where they have like the silhouette, and it really looks like Algol. Some people are saying it could be Huang in like a weird kind of pose. It makes his hair kind of look like Algol because he's got the scarf. So it's like if you make his scarf blow in the wind in some kind of magical artistic way, they could kind of look the same. I hope it's Algol because Huang doesn't have a personality. And I like characters who talk crap. Also, I really like Algol. I'll probably play him. So that will be fun. I hope it's Algol. Oh, what I would really want, what I really would pray for, Season 3, Yun Sung. Give me my Korean with the flamingo mix-up stance that talks all sorts of shit. Please, Okubo, let's go. Alright, that's it. How do I feel about the direction of the game? It's kind of a mixed bag, because personally, I learned during, and I was most successful during the games where block was undeniably the best button in the game. Like, defense was super strong, and you had to really overcome the way your opponent was blocking you. And now there's so many defensive tools that really leaning hard on block, it doesn't cut it. You really have to use a lot of more active defensive tools. So the old school part of me is struggling. Not gonna lie, struggling. But I do have to say that the direction of the game, while it is more aggressive, it's more aggressive than my tastes, but I like it in a lot of ways. And what Bandai Namco has done with this game since release has been absolutely magnificent. Like, there is no contest whatsoever that the post-release support from Bandai Namco has been worlds beyond any treatment Soulcalibur has ever gotten. Like, in the last, 20 years, nothing has come close to this. And it's beautiful to watch it happen. I really like that they didn't just patch the game a couple times and let it be. Because if they did that, the game, it wouldn't be nearly as balanced as it is. As it stands, the game is incredibly balanced. And it's definitely a fighting game in which I feel like all characters can compete at a competitive level. Like, you may have to outplay your opponent to one degree or another to take wins with, like, a less substantial character. But there are no characters that really, delete people off the roster. Like, if you go back to, your Soulcalibur 4s or your Soulcalibur 3s, it's like, in Soulcalibur 3, if you didn't have a button that stopped X from teleporting, you were garbage. You literally just couldn't play in the tournament because the X player is just going to spam this one defensive thing, and the second you whiff a button, she's going to hit you for it. Second you try to hit her with anything big, she's going to launch you for trying it. And it was a crouching sidestepping button that was so effective that literally 75% of the cast couldn't even touch it. And then Soulcalibur 4, you've got Hildy. Hildy actually had to get banned. She was so bad. And it was all off the back of her having the best. She had three things that put together made her absolutely ban-worthy. A, she had a whiff punish that went almost full screen and rang you out from literally any position on smaller maps. So it's the best. Oh, and it's safe on block. So it's like the best whiff punisher you can imagine. It has all the range. It does literally infinite damage because it knocks you out of the ring. And it's huge. It's got a giant hitbox. And then you combine that with the fact that she has the best movement in the game. And, not only does she, some characters, there were things where, if you didn't test it against Hildy, you might not really have a mix-up against her. Because there's other points where characters would have to block stuff, and Hilda just got to sidestep. And if you tried to do that mix-up that worked on the rest of the cast, you would die. It's just hey, man, you don't have the buttons to compete with this character. You don't. And, I think or even Soulcalibur 5. Soulcalibur 5 had a character with infinites. Viola could literally one-touch you off of a low. What? It's a low. It's low. And it does 100% damage. And I don't mean rings you out 100% damage. I mean, it actually deletes the whole health bar if you have full meter. Which is, ridiculous in any game. Forget about any game. You could be in Street Fighter. You got a low that does 100% damage. That's cheap. That's really cheap. Oh, man. But because of all the post-development support from Bandai Namco, this game has been left in the best balance potential, the best balance situation in Soulcalibur history, potentially. There's definitely an argument for Soulcalibur 2, but the argument for Soulcalibur 2 is grounded in the fact that the strongest mechanic in the game is defense. So, if in theory, if your defense is good enough, you can win with these low tiers. Which, like, for example, like, if you look at Hayate, now he plays Killick, but back in Soulcalibur 2, he used to play Unsung, who was the worst character in the game, hands down. And at the World Championships, this man was the first, he went first on his 5v5 team, and he literally OCV'd a whole team with the worst character in the game. Like, you gotta know how to, like, beat the defense. So, yeah. I think there's an argument for both sides, but it's highly likely that Soulcalibur 6 is the most balanced game in Soulcalibur history. So yeah, the post-development support has been beautiful. Thanks, Okubo. Anything closing? Not really. Nah. I'll probably think of something later. Fuck.